Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your host with the most, as always, Francois878, and today I'm bringing you another Let's Play Warframe. Today I'm going to be bringing you the update 13.3 goodies and all kinds of fun stuff. This is a huge update. It's a very big update, and there's a lot of stuff to go through. So let's get started. Two new weapons. The Cerberus, which is you're seeing me use right here. It's a lever action 10-0 rifle. It's burst fire, so you're going to be firing 2 bullets for each trigger pull. Damage is pretty good. It looks a little low at first glance, but once you realize it's burst fire and it's actually double what those numbers are, you realize that it's actually pretty good. It's on par with the Grinlock as far as damage output, and it looks damn cool too. And it has a better crit chance and crit damage. It's got the same crit damage as the Grinlock, but higher crit chance, but lower status chance. So this is basically the critical. You want to build critical hit on the Cerberus, where you would build status chance on the Grinlock. But it's a very good rifle. This is basically in its base form right here. With I think it's level 4, so it doesn't have any mods or upgrades or anything. But it still seems to be chewing through dudes pretty easily. And it's definitely a weapon that you could potentially bring to medium-high defense levels and survival missions. Very good. The second weapon, which we're going to see here in a moment, I'll start it early though, is the Angstrom. It's a secondary rocket launcher. It's what I compare it to is basically if the Orgris and the Paris had a baby. That's what this pistol would be. Basically, it's a rocket launcher, but it has a charge. So if you just pull the trigger immediately, it will fire 1 rocket. But if you charge it completely, it will actually fire 3 rockets and empty the clip. And it's a very interesting gun. I'm intrigued to see where it'll go. It does the same amount of damage as the. It does the same amount of damage as the Penta at base level, and it's interesting. It's definitely going to be the gun if you don't want to bring the Penta or the Orgris with you. This is the gun to bring with you. It does not have. I think it has 1 mod slot already pre-equipped in there, but it's definitely worth a potato and some formas to really get the most out of this gun. Potentially, because it's a secondary, and there are 2 multi-shot mods for secondary weapons, you can potentially get up to 9 rockets in 1 fully charged pull, which is very interesting. Very cool. The Angstrom is a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to leveling it up further. It's definitely a weapon that you could bring with you to high-level defense missions. Now, what you guys also just saw here with Banshee is the next part of the update, is the Nyx and Banshee now have toggleable ultimates, or their primo abilities, Sonic, Quake, and Absorb for Nyx, are now, you can turn them on or off. So as opposed to, Nyx and Banshee having to sit there and wait for the animation to finish, you can turn it on or off. So you could potentially have, an Absorb or a Sonic Quake that lasts 15 seconds, or you could have one that lasts 2 seconds. In case, you hit the button accidentally, or, especially with Absorb, which we'll see later, you can just basically, hit 4, like, boom, boom, and just have the initial blast radius happen. Or with Absorb, you can just wait there and stand there and let all the enemies just blast you, and then trigger it, and just, oh, gosh. Absorb is going to be, it's a huge buff for Absorb and Soundquake, I think. Soundquake primarily is used for crowd control. It stuns all enemies in the radius while the ability is active. So it's, you can potentially have 15 seconds of pure CC. It's going to be interesting, and I'm a big fan of Banshee, and I like Nyx quite a bit too. So it'll be fun to see. It's fun to have that control now. But on from the buffs, there are also some nerfs. As you can see here, Trinity, her 4 also got nerfed. It got changed. Her 4th was Blessing. Basically, it healed all health and shields of all friendly Warframes in the area, and also granted invincibility for a set amount of time. Now, with the right mods, you could potentially get up to 25 seconds of invincibility with the old Blessing, which is ridiculous and completely unfair and completely OP. Basically, it was the only way people could get 3 or 4 hours into a survival game, because they had, a couple of Trinities that were maxed out blessings. And now that they've changed it to now, it's a damage immunity based on the person with the least amount of health. So basically, it's a percentage of damage reduction. It's basically, if you heal somebody and they have 50% health, and that was the lowest person on the team, everyone will get a 50% damage reduction for the duration. It's kind of interesting. If let's say you use Blessing, and the lowest person only has 90% of their health. You're only going to get a 10% damage reduction. So a lot of people are complaining that it's too much of a nerf. I personally think that it's good. I think that Blessing was way overpowered, and that you shouldn't really be able to go 4 hours on one survival key. I think that's ridiculous. And I think that's terribly, terribly OP, and just kind of silly. I don't... Trin, a lot of people are complaining about it, but I think it's a nerf that needed to happen to kind of bring her in line. And so Blessing is used less aggressively, because that's really what it is. Aggressive invincibility. Next up on the 13.3 is going to be the, you might see them here, and also with Banshee I had them. They are the customizable armors now. They're little armor attachments that you can equip onto your frames. They're interesting. They're not... they're a little overpriced. I mean, they're definitely overpriced for what they want. They want each set to be 100 platinum for each set, and there's 2 sets, the Daedalus and the Eros. And I bought both of them because I'm a nerd, and I'm a sucker for cosmetic stuff. But I don't know. It's just they're nice, but I just don't think they're worth 100 platinum. But these are just furthering the goals of DE to have a better, more customizable Warframe on the aesthetic side. With the Syndanas and the helmets, and now with the armor pieces. And you can mix and match. You can have Daedalus armor with Eros armor if you like the shoulder pads of one, but the chest armor of the other. So it's not bad. It's a little overpriced, but everything is. And you can see here, this is Nyx. Actually, the last part of the update, the last big part, are the feral Kubros, which are the dog-type enemies that everyone has been absolutely going crazy over, wanting to know when they're going to be introduced as a pet into the game. And I think this is the first step into that. The feral Kubros have been introduced into the Earth tile set, and they're going to be permanent edition, and they're basically just like the random, they're not really like an enemy. They're just kind of if they're near you, they'll come up and attack, like the desert. God, what do they call the desert rays in Phobos? They'll come up and attack you. The Kubros are very similar. Very similar to that. But you'll also get to see more of Nick's Absorb and how you can, the toggle feature of it. There's so much in this update. It's a huge update. Go to warframes.com to see the full patch list, because I'm pretty sure I got everything, but I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. But please like, comment, and subscribe. I love all you guys. Follow me on Twitter. The link's in the doobly-doo in the description. I'd appreciate it very much. And we'll see you guys next time for another delicious Warframe update video with all kinds of new stuff and new features and all that. Thanks.